All right, welcome this morning to our third in the series of our Spring into Success. Good morning, everybody. Everybody wave, say hi. Hi. This is so much fun. I just love this. So we are going to hear from two experts today on the topic of working with your host for success, and otherwise known as host coaching. But seriously, that partnership with your host is the most important relationship you can have in your business, because you've got to get her as excited as you are in order to have a successful party. And she's the one that's getting the people in the room, which is, your key to future leads and your host's key to getting, the items that are on her wish list. So we are so excited to hear from Shirley Bayou. Hi, Shirley. Wave to everybody. Shirley is, good morning. Shirley's joining us from California this morning. I can see it's sunny there, it looks like. And Sandy Kristoff is another expert on this field, and she's calling in from Cincinnati, near Cincinnati, Ohio. How about that? So, hi, Sandy. Okay, so y'all, I'm just going to let you take it away because you're the experts this morning. We're excited to hear from you.
Okay, thanks, Jerry, for asking me to share on this. To me, host coaching is one of the most important things we can do in our business. Obviously, I always say host coaching to your business and success is kind of like cooking to your cooking shows. One doesn't work without the other. I always say think of host coaching as a relationship. You're the consultant, and they are your best friend ever for about 2 weeks. Remember, the relationship you build with your host now may be a team member in the end, and you want that to be able to continue. So you're kind of laying the groundwork for what you're going to do for a long, long time. Ask your host from the beginning what she would love to have for free from the show. It really is all about her and her friends. The outcome has to do with how much fun she's having and how much fun you make it. So bring the fun. Be friendly, smile, take notes when she's talking about what she'd really love to be or do, and of course, always be professional. Number two, it's essential that we have 2 to 3 contacts with your host prior to the show. They don't all need to be live or in person. It needs to be texting or messaging, email, something like that, whether you send her a little letter or something. So I ask up front, even at the show, what is the best way to contact her, through Facebook or text messaging, email, or calling. Now, if she says strictly and only Facebook, texting, or instant messaging, I always let her know that there's going to be at least a 10-minute conversation that we're going to have to talk live. And we set up that date at that time. Whether it's during lunch or whether it's before she goes to work or during whatever works best for her. But it's important to have at least a live conversation one time throughout that time. And then at that time, and I always ask 2 quick questions. Number 1, have you hosted many shows before, and were they successful? Were you satisfied with the results? Did that go well for you? And then number 2, and this is funny, but regardless of the answer, I ask again, can I share a couple of things that I found that work? And then I say, most of my hosts will be, do, or have, and then I fill in the blanks. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. The most important thing, again, being that they over-invite. And then number 3, and this sounds like I'm repeating myself, find out the reason first for their wanting to host the show. Help them create a wish list. When it's all about them and their friends and what they're going to get out of it, they'll work much harder to achieve those goals. Ask them what kind of cooking they do. What would make that easier? To help them create a great wish list, you need to know a little bit more about your host. And again, you're building that relationship forever, I hope, because you're going to sign your host down the road to be part of your team, and it's important that you get to know them. if they say, and they often do, she says she only wants to have a few friends over and just have some fun. She doesn't care what she gets for free.
Mm-hmm.
Let her know that it has been my experience or your experience that the people love to party with people. Okay, that's a lot of keys. People love to party with people. And they're going to want to shop, and they're going to feel bad if they're the only ones doing it. So they're going to want to have other people there. They usually get a little more involved with saying, okay, well, then I would like to have my friends of friends, etc. It seems to put them in the party mode instead of the I don't want to be in imposition mode. Number 4, something that I found really helps is to pick a theme. People get more involved, I think, when it's their party. So if they're doing fajitas and burritos or sangrias and salads, soup and slippers, they feel more part of the party. And for example, if they pick a Mexican theme and they go buy paper plates and napkins and et cetera to match, they're much more likely to work diligently to share those with their friends. They don't want to put them away in the cupboard. They want to show off a little bit. So get them involved in that way so that they can, pick what they want for their party. Recipes can be as simple as a taco rain, or it can be as elaborate as, fajitas, or the new rice, Mexican rice. It can be any of those things, and it's still a Mexican theme. It's whatever you call it. But saying theme gets the host involved. Okay, so number 5. Gosh, just makes me nervous. Okay, number 5. I don't know if you can see it. I'm shaking in my boots here.
Oh, no, you're doing great. Information. Keep going, Shirley. We're loving it.
Okay. Number 5, always, you set up your show in your consultant's corner, so always send your host that email from the home office. I don't know, those of us that have been around for a while, they have drastically improved it. It's amazing. It helps. It has the list of 40 right there in it. And if you help them to create that and refer to it often, how important it is to over-invite. Remind their host that no one is ever offended by being invited to a party, but if they find out you had one and they didn't get invited, it can be bad. Mm-hmm. So just invite everyone who eats. Okay, number 6, ask your host how she typically talks to or invites people to various parties. If she's had a birthday party or a Christmas party, whatever, ask her how she does that. Give your host all the different options to invite people to her party. Not everyone does Facebook, but it is a very viable option. For example, if she does Facebook, be sure that she's your friend. People love when you say, will you be my friend? And then set up a Facebook event. I have a photo file and recipes for quick and easy post. And Pampered Chef has a photo file for these too. So you can go to pamperedchef.com, you can click on the spot that says photos, and then you can just right click and save them in a file that you call them your own, okay? I post once a day for the time of the show is open. Is that my time up?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you're good.
Okay. I post once a day for the time that the show is open. And I always try to alternate it, something exciting about the veggie spiralizer and then something with a recipe so that they're thinking, oh, I might need that tool. Remember to coach the host to like your post so that friends will see them. And it's important if they do texting, which most of us do a lot, text message them, invite your host to text message their friends to save the date, almost like the day after the show, and then email through the host email. Again, you can do that through Consultant's Corner. If you have any questions, ask me at the end, I can show you. And then number 7, throughout all 3 of your conversations, let them know the host benefits. One of the most important host benefits is the kit buy down or the kit credit. It's important that we share that with them because it may be the furthest thing for their mind, or it may be in the back of their mind going, oh, this is so simple, I think I would like to do this. If their friends are being responsive, it's important for you to let them know that that's an option for them. Number 7, throughout I already said that, sorry. Scripty. In addition, it's important for hosts to check with those out of state via email or text messaging and to send your website link. I always use the 5-15-5 concept of 5 pre-show orders, 15 guests at the show, and 5 post-show orders, or basically follow up with everybody that didn't attend to see if they wanted to order anything. I bring an extra dessert or the chocolate turtle skillet fudge cake, and I talk that into my host coaching so that they're thinking already, I really want to have 10 or more guests because then Shirley's going to bring dessert. Okay? So that's kind of an important part to say, I'm going to do a little extra if you'll do a little extra. And all the time, each and every time, let them know how important it is to you to let them walk away from the show saying, oh my gosh, that was the best experience ever. It's important to me for me to be professional and for you to like me. So I have many $1,000 shows with that concept of the 5-15-5. And if you put that in front of you, it helps to have kind of that idea as to what you're going to get out of it afterwards. I find truly ladies that host just want to have fun. They want to have friends show up and get tons of free stuff. Being specific on what they need to do and how they need to invite is your job. Okay? Think about this. And I think I heard it from Becca Wunderlich. One of my favorite things to say and to think about, host coaching is where you earn your paycheck, and your cooking shows is where you pick it up. Okay? You will have many fewer cancellations. You will have fewer cancellations and much higher sales if you work closely with your host. Okay? It's a relationship. Build on.
Yay! Good job, Shirley. All right.
Thanks, what?
Any questions for Shirley?
Anybody?
Well, maybe they'll have some questions at the end of both of our things. They'll be thinking of some more. How's that? Okay, so I'm just going to tag team on a little bit of what Shirley said too. There'll be some overlap because so much of the information that Shirley pointed out is so key to our success. So, and I love the way that she talked about making it fun and easy, fun and easy, fun and easy. So that is really, and about the relationship. So that is what it's all about. So, and as Terry said, host coaching can make the biggest impact on everything else in your business. And just because you have a booking doesn't mean you have business. The host coaching is the next step to turn that into actual sales and future business with recruiting and booking leads. So when you start thinking about growing and improving your business, probably a good place to look is on your performance tracker. And when you look at the performance detail, and you can see what your numbers are. So hopefully you've looked at that before and you know what your average number of orders per show is and what your average show average is, your sales per show. So if you know that, that's a good place to start. And the biggest place where you can impact your business is by adding customers or orders to your show. So if you look, I bet you are going to be surprised. You might find that you have an average of 9 orders per show or whatever. If you look at that and you think, what if I had 2 more orders per show? Just 2 more orders per show could raise your show average $100. So you could be making a lot more money at each. And then again, it's not only about you making money, but it's about what your host is going to get out of it and how she's going to be an ambassador for your business for the rest of your relationship. So she's going to help you with getting more. Shirley said she might become a team member. Well, so adding more attendance to your shows is really a good place to focus. Okay, so how can you get your host to invite a lot of people and increase attendance? And of course, a lot of it goes back to your relationship. But you know, one of the things that I like to paint the picture for my host is, have you ever been to another direct selling party where there were maybe 2 or 3 people in the room? And pretty much everybody has. and it doesn't feel good. It feels uncomfortable for the host. It feels uncomfortable for the guests. So we want your host to picture that. And if she just thinks, like, well, I'd like to have a couple people over and, you know, can't focus very much on getting attendance, maybe that's something that'll help paint the picture for her is, you know, if she has a lot more people in the room, it's going to be a hands-on party. It's going to be more fun for everybody to get involved, and helping her use the top 40 list, which is actually also on the back of the host planner, the party planner. That's the same thing as the 40 list, which she links to in that host email that Shirley mentioned that you're going to send her out of your website. So, so that is going to help her to get a picture of who to invite. And I also like to paint the picture of thinking like, hey, you know, those people at work that you're always telling your sister about, wouldn't it be fun for her to finally get to meet them? Mm-hmm. or your mom, the stories you tell about your mom with the people at work. You know, it's nice to get all of those fun people in your life together and see each other. Another thing that can really help with getting attendance is helping your host words to say when she invites people. Think about the products that she already loves. Maybe she loves the Food Shopper and she's been telling her friends about it and she wants to show them how it works. Or maybe she has a certain product that she's hoping to get and seeing like, oh my gosh, I saw that spiralizer in the video on the Facebook event and I can't wait to see it in process. You know, so help her to be able to say actual words about the products she loves and the theme, and to practice, you know, the words to say so she doesn't feel shy about saying them. Okay, and then Shirley also already mentioned incentives for attendance, bringing a dessert, and you can use incentives for bringing a friend, like a season's best or something really easy like that. Okay, so just some ways to help your host hold the original date and decrease cancellations and rescheduling. I know that probably doesn't happen to you, but I've had that happen to me. And I like to be able to look back and blame myself for it, because then I know it's fixable. So if I say, gosh, that show wouldn't have canceled if I had been in contact better, or if I had, you know, done more to keep in contact or made it more fun or whatever, you know, a lot of times we can point right back to ourselves if we have problems with our shows. And like I said, you can feel good about that because then you know it's something fixable. Obviously, there are going to be times when you have a cancellation or a postponement that is not going to be within your control if they have a crisis in the family or something, but many times you can impact that. So one of the things you can do right now, you know, is be aware of potential pitfalls like spring break, vacations, holiday weekends, you know, events at school. And one of the things that you can do to prevent events at school or your sports team impacting you is to make sure that she's got that list of 40 invited. So it's not just the people in that one group that are going to be impacted. So like I said, really be aware about those holidays and vacations coming up, and let your host know that not everybody is going to be able to attend. And so don't be, you know, surprised if some of her friends aren't going to be able to come. They can place an order, or, you know, wouldn't it be cool to go to a show at their house so they could be a booking and you could, you know, get together and do a different fun theme at their house later. So, and also let her know that there is going to be, you know, like there are going to be people that can't attend, and it's not unusual to get those no responses first. So if she starts hearing a bunch of people saying, no, I can't come, it's still not, you know, it's too early to freak out. And of course I wouldn't say that to her, but, you know, I know that, you know, it's too early to panic. There are going to be people that can't come. It's likely you're going to hear from them first. Make sure that you increase your invite list and keep talking to people. So there's multiple ways to keep in touch. Shirley mentioned that. You know, here's another tip: book early in the month, because people have more money earlier in the month. And they're also, you know, it also gives you a little bit of wiggle room. If there is a crisis, you could still potentially move the show a little bit later in the month and still have it within that month's sales. So, so really try and book your 2 weeks before the last 2 weeks. All right. Get outside orders before your party is also going to help you prevent cancellations. If you've got somebody that's already got $200 in orders before the show, if something happens and the show has to be rescheduled, you could still close it out as a $200 catalog show. And isn't it great if you have $500 in show orders to have another $200 going in? You've got a really great start on a nice big party. So I like to give an incentive of an extra $15 in product if you've got $200 in prepaid orders at your show. And that can be something nice like, you know, a batter bowl or, you know, a garlic press or something. It really is a significant kind of product. And if you're going to buy it at the host discount, it's not going to cost you that much. You know, if you look at the host discount and your commission, it's going to be like half price. So, so that's cool to work on those, and to be excited when you call your host. That's also going to help her hold original date and decrease cancellations and rescheduling. When you're sincerely interested in her success and helping her get what she wants, and of course, as Shirley mentioned, reinforcing the things that she's picturing getting into her own kitchen. Like, oh my gosh, one thing you could do is send her that cookbook for the all-purpose pot. If that's on her wish list, send her the cookbook in advance and let her look at those recipes. That'll help get her really excited about what's going to happen when she gets that all-purpose pot in her kitchen. All right, and even if you don't have an e-cookbook, send her some recipes. So paint the picture of what it's going to look like when she's got that great success. Okay, recruiting your host. So most of our consultants were hosts first. So we know that our hosts are really good candidates for that. And we want to start planting the seed early, and don't expect that you're going to get a yes right away, even though every now and then you might be surprised with that. But to put in your host packet, of course, we know that this again, in the Good Life, Taste the Good Life, it talks about the kit buy down, so make sure that you touch on that. But another thing that I really like is the Taste the Good Life brochure, and putting that in your host packet. I've got a little sticky note on mine, so I can use that as a template to say, you know, like, open this. I don't know if this is something that you ever thought about. You know, pull this out of your host packet, and I just want to touch on this for a minute, the Taste the Good Life. So I don't know if you've ever thought about trying Pampered Chef, but my job is easy and has lots of perks. And this is what my little Post-it note says, okay? I don't know if you've ever thought about this, trying Pampered Chef, but my job is easy and has lots of perks. What on this list might look intriguing to you? So these perks, you know, they haven't told me they're interested in being a consultant, but this is a good place to think about, you know, like even if you might be interested, what do you think? Is there something on this list that looks intriguing to you? So is it about the commission? Is it about the travel? Is it about flexibility? You know, and if they say, no, I'm totally not interested. Well, you know, this might be for someone you know. It might not even be for you. It might be for someone you know. So Terry Newberry, she was a referral. So, you know, wouldn't it be nice that, and that was exactly that, Becky, as she said, someone you know. And that clicked with the person that, Jackie Barron, who referred Terry. So, so do you think that's an easy way to do that, to bring up the host coaching, to bring it in host coaching, the booking recruiting thought? You think you could do that?
Definitely.
Okay, well, I like that.
I was choking to death over here. I
know that. I know that.
Hey,
No,
Sandy,
so I didn't know if you
is
were-
it possible to post your verbiage that you use on our Facebook page?
Sure.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Okay. And then ask again before the show, because every time you bring it up, you know, the first time, it's kind of like, have you ever gone into a store, you're going to conference, and you're looking for a dress for conference, or a nice top, or new pants, or whatever, shoes, Wendy. And so you go into a store, and you have this in your mind that you're going shopping for a specific thing, and the store clerk comes to you and says, hey, can I help you? What are you looking for? And the first thing we do is what? Just looking.
No.
Looking. And you know what? That's the reaction that you may get when you bring about becoming a Pampered Chef consultant because they haven't really thought about it yet, or maybe they had, but they don't want to talk about it yet. So the sooner you start planting the seeds and the sooner you open that conversation, the next time you bring it up, it'll be a little warmer, and the next time you bring it up, it'll be a little warmer. And remember, you have to go into it with a no is the same response as a yes. So you just want an answer. You just want conversation. That's it. And so that's it. Don't, be disappointed if they say no. You don't care. You don't care. The answers are the same. That's part of your job to bring it up. Okay. All right. So in host coaching after the show, I use this. I've always used this, which is downloadable from the web, Cooking Show Tally. And this helps you to talk up more levels. Here's where you are now. Here's the next couple levels. Here's who's booked on your show. Here's what dollars are due, et cetera, et cetera. I love this. You keep a copy so you have something to talk about when you close the show. And so you can download this. It's called the Cooking Show Tally. You can search for it on the web, and it's right there. All right. It also has a little section on here, again, to talk about using the KIT credit and bringing up, maybe if she decides to become a consultant, she can have the bookings from that show. So that's really easy. And to become a consultant, or ask for referrals. Who else do you know that might be interested in what we have? Okay, just some things that are going to help you with your job to make it easier is, the company materials. There's the party planners, both the catalog and the, I love that new folder, because the pocket folder, because it's so easy to use and it's there giving them coaching when you're not. And then the same information is also in my recipe for success.
I
There's
love
a
that.
coaching
Love that thing.
section in this too. And I love the fact that it's all the same, consistent everywhere. All right. So these little check-ins, that's the same as on this page, Hosting 101, okay, which is on Pampered Chef University as well. And I know Kathy Dryden showed us a checklist last week. I'm working with your hosts, and I found one. Not sure it's exactly the same, but this is on the web. So you can find out, and that'll help you keep.
I think that just came out. The one that Sandy's showing right now. I think that's a new form.
Well, the point is, I didn't know it was there till I saw Kathy Dryden's, and
I know.
And I started looking. I know.
They keep surprising. They copied Kathy.
They're so fast.
They said that Kathy Dryden chick, we need to do what she's doing.
Do not tell Doris. Do not tell Doris that.
One of the other things that I use are the KIT credit coupon, and you can mail this if you want a separate contact. I think it might be a little redundant to put in your host packet, but you can mail it, or you can even hand it to them at closing. You can use that, and it points out again how to get the buy down. And here, there's multiple of these printout mailable invitations, and you can fill out the information for your host right here. And there are, 8 of them. There's a bunch of them. And I still use this to keep information about the host information checklist on all the details about their address and their contact information, what products they have, what they want. Even though I don't use this part anymore, the questions, because it's so much more simple to use those other things, to use the questions on the Hosting 101, which are the same as the Recipe for Success questions. But this is the place I use to track all that other information. All right, so, and I also want to encourage you to host your catalog shows as if they were cooking shows. Don't just send catalogs out and wait 2 weeks to call your host and find out she hasn't done anything, okay? Because I heard one time, I don't know if this is still true, but I heard that Pampered Chef says, I don't know how they know this, but that of the catalog shows that are booked, only a third of them ever close. And I think that's why, because we don't treat them as viable shows. I mean, especially new consultants and hobbyist consultants count on them as if they are going to close, but they're so risky. But this catalog show checklist, see where it says right here, catalog show checklist, it's the same. It still talks through, it points you to $1,000 show. You can have $1,000 catalog show. It's just a numbers game. You get the 25 orders and you'll be there. And it still wants you to invite people. So, you know, don't forget about that. Is catalog show can be a lot more successful if you pay attention to it and do the things Shirley talked about, including set up the Facebook. Okay, so I just want to say this. If you are going to offer incentives, I just want to recapture the place that's going to have the biggest impact is what? Attendance, attendance, attendance. That's where you're going to get your resources for more leads, both booking and recruit leads. So the only other situation that I would say is a place where I would offer an incentive is if your show schedule isn't what you want, and if you want to close in booking, you can, you know, offer an incentive for a booking within a couple of weeks. But if you've got a good, strong show schedule, you know, the attendance is key. Attendance is king. All right, so that's it. I want to give you two quotes. One is from Rory Vaden, who was the speaker that we had at National Conference last year for directors training, and he talked about, you know, the tendency that we have to shortcut things, and his book Take the Stairs is all about that. And so what he talks about is the short-term easy shortcuts give you long-term difficult. And the opposite is true, is if you take the time and spend the time developing your host coaching, you know, the short-term difficult will give you long-term easy. So, and then Zig Ziglar, you can get everything in life that you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. So again, take your eyes off yourself, work with your host, and you will be successful doing what you want. So do the PCU host coaching training. And this week on Wednesday, April 6th, the tips from the top call is going to be Marna Ross doing more on detailed host coaching. So that's going to be awesome.
Yep.
So that's it.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, Sandy. We should all make a pact to be on that call on Wednesday night with Marna. Her show average is over $1,000. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing. And it's got to be about getting people in the room, because you can be the world's best salesperson. You can be a really good salesperson, and if you only have 2 people to sell to, you're not going to have $1,000 show average. You know, you've got to have the people in the room. So generally speaking, when someone has a low show average, it's because they're just not getting enough people in the room. It's a reflection of their host coaching. So thank you so much, Sandy, and thank you, Shirley, so much. Any questions? Does anybody have anything that you'd like to ask for either, you know, Sandy or Shirley, or anything that anybody wants to add that, you know, is working really well for you? You know, we'd love to hear from everybody, or anyone who has a question or, you know, a thought on the subject. Anybody?
Terry, one of the things that I did, I like the fact that, Sandy, you showed the Kit Credit form, or the Kit Credit flyer. And one of the things that I've always done with that, and I love it, is I actually copy it on gold paper. And so when I'm host coaching, I send it separately. I call it the golden ticket. And yeah, and so it gets me talking about it because I put it on gold paper and it's something special. And then I just call it the golden ticket, and we all know what the golden ticket is. And so it just helps me talk about it more.
Do you mail yours separately? I had never, Sandy, I got to tell you, I had never thought about mailing the Kit, you know, credit coupon on gold paper or mailing it separately. I have never thought about putting it in the mail separately. I think that's a fantastic idea. Do you mail yours separately, Wendy, or how do you use that?
No, I don't. And that is a great idea. And I'm thinking that I'm going to start that. I actually put it in my host packet. And then when I host coach, I talk about the golden ticket. And I say, you'll notice that you have a golden ticket in your host packet. And let me tell you what this golden ticket's for. Well,
what I love about both Sandy's idea and yours, Wendy, is that by putting on gold paper, it's a catchy phrase. It's, it gets their attention. But Sandy's idea of mailing it separately is engaging another form of communication. So you're dropping something in the mail that is by itself, so it's going to draw attention to itself just because it comes separately. I love that. And it's going to, like you said, Wendy, kind of force you to have a conversation, because you're kind of accountable to the fact that you mailed something separately. So and maybe even put a note on it that says, let's talk about this, before your party. What, Sandy?
One other, I said, and I think you'd be great. I'd love to work with you.
Yes.
One of the things that we didn't mention that I know Shirley and I have both talked about is, all along the way, when you're talking to your host about the potential of her becoming a consultant, is that she could take that show and make it her own.
Right.
So I think, both of us agree, and consultants do it differently, but I think both of us agree that all along the way, if she determines that she's ready to get started, then you'll help her, if, you've got it on your calendar already, you've got that show booked on your calendar. So if she becomes a consultant, that can become her first show.
Right.
But when you get there and when you start doing the show, it's not her show.
Just as already
So
ordered it.
Yeah, consultants. But anyways, we didn't mention that, and I know we had talked about it.
I love that. Okay, any other questions? Good. Thank you for that comment, Wendy. I love that. I'm integrating that into my my regular routine now. So, anybody else?
I had a question.
Where do you get gold paper?
Staples.
Staples?
Mm-hmm. But we have a question.
Go, Christina, go.
Oh, sorry. If you have a host that disappears, I had one that was supposed to do a catalog show on the 1st, how often do I keep contacting her, or when do I let it go?
Shirley, you want to answer that?
I follow up at least every 2 days, just because. I'll text her first, and then I'll send her a quick little email about how exciting the monthly special is, or did you know, or something about a recipe. Even if it's a catalog show, I will mention a variety of different kinds of things that are exciting about following through. Send her a text message at least every couple of days. And then by the 4th day or 5th day, I verbally will say, okay, Sandy, I'm starting to feel like the pampered stalker. If you've changed your mind for any reason whatsoever, it's okay to say no. It's okay to let me go. But I really would love for this to be a success for you, and we kind of need to work together in order to make that happen. So, sometimes they're busy. Sometimes they just are scared. Sometimes they've changed their mind. So there's no way of knowing. You just got to keep reaching out to them.
Thank you.
I love that. I love the way Shirley said, I'm starting to feel like the pampered stalker. I love that. That's awesome. Okay, good. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes, go, Amanda.
I feel selfish asking you a question because I get Sandy and Shirley to myself all the time, but
Ask
I
away.
don't know, I'm gonna ask it anyway. When I'll get a potential booking and I'll follow up, and then sometimes I get this response like, you know what, I was thinking about it and I'm just way too busy. I have so much going on, and they start going down the list of, I have this weekend, that weekend, and I can't think of when I'm going to fit it in. And what I've been trying to do so far is suggest a quick 2-hour show, maybe a happy hour on a weeknight, or an early morning brunch on the weekend. But I'm open to hearing more ideas so that I can really seal that booking. Because I know what it's like to be busy, but I also know that I can do a good job at helping them have a quick little show and still gaining some success from that. But I don't think I'm good at really sealing the deal with my verbiage. And any feedback on that?
Sandy, you want me to take that? Ideas, Sandy?
Yeah, sure. Well, Amanda, the first thing I would say to you is is we have to anticipate the objection. So if we know the biggest objection that people are going to give us today is they're too busy. And so the fun and easy, but also the wish list, you know, if it's somebody that you're meeting at a show. We just actually had the luxury of being on a leaders call yesterday, and there was some training on host coaching. So Stacy Turner, who's a senior director, mentioned this, and she said she starts her host coaching at the show, and she starts, you know, setting the expectations, letting the host know what's going to happen, the upcoming host know what's going to happen and everything, and she starts building the wish list right then and there. So if you, you know, kind of help her to kind of get the buy-in for why, in a bigger way, to what she wants to get out of the show, both from a fun standpoint and a product standpoint, and reinforcing that you're going to make it fun and easy, and to kind of let her know a little bit more at the show, or even if it's not possible at the, you know, if you don't meet her at a show or whatever, to do it at your first contact when you first start your, you know, the booking process. And that will go a long way in helping her to feel more comfortable. And I think your comments about making it quick and easy are really good, spot on. You know, that if you start talking to her about, tell me a little bit about your friends and what you might like, how you might like to see this go, and what your friends might get out of it, you know, what they might want to see out of it. And if she says to you, oh, my friends are so busy and blah, 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 that's when you can, you know, go to that, to your comments about we're going to make it quick. We're going to show them how to save time in the kitchen. You're going to make it of value to her before you get to that point.
I use the terminology a lot too, Amanda. I say that's exactly why. You know, so when they're saying they're very busy, I say, that's exactly why we're going to make this such a short and easy show, or why we're doing appetizers only, or I'll send the invitations for you. You know, let's make it something that's doable because you're so busy. You know, having one day, one time with your friends is going to be irrelevant if we don't do it through Pampered Chef. You might never get to see all of them. You're going to be at a baseball game, or you're going to be at a, you know, a soccer event, but you don't really get to visit. You don't get to play. And that's my job. So let me make it easy for you. Okay.
Love that.
That's exactly why.
Yeah. And you know what? I also think too, Amanda, your instincts are really great, because, you know, the happy hour. So to me, happy hour is it's an hour right after work. And so that kind of, you know, sets the stage. And I love that. And what about, you know, using recipes like rush hour fajitas, words like that, you know, acknowledge that she's busy and that you're going to help her. Like Shirley said, you're going to, you know, create a service that's going to help her life and make her life more easy. So love that. That's, yeah, I think that your instincts are really right, spot on that. Very good. You know, very good instincts on that. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, and we're all busy. You know, maybe what your host, when she says that, she's really kind of making sure that you understand, you know, where she's coming from, and, you know, you're able to affirm that with her. So, and come up with a solution for her. So that's awesome. Yay. All right. Any other thoughts? Any other questions?
You know, I also want to say Shirley is really great about not taking the first objection and folding, because I think that that's a tendency that we have to do is to kind of say, well, I don't want to be pushy, but you don't want to be wimpy either. So, you know, and just helping to give her some comfort and to let her know how you're going to help her, you know, and not immediately go to, well, you know, I understand to go to a catalog show, or can we move to a different date? You know, to try and help her work it out is the first place to go.
Excellent.
Like Amanda says too, I have a great leader, and she's taught me from the beginning that it's my job to be provisional. I know how to make this successful. And again, I have 21 years experience. Not everybody does, but there are many blind leaders that have come before me that have said over and over and over, Friel, for example, that just say, I can do this with you, just let me. So I continually just tell them there's an opportunity. Let's see what we can do to keep it so simple that you're excited with the results. That's what we're after anyways. It's all about the results.
One more thing I wanted to point out before we finish. Early in Shirley's presentation, she talked about one of the first questions she asked her host is, what's the best way to communicate with her? And I want to just make sure that everyone heard that, because I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but if you're not, look it up. It is awesome. On Facebook, there are two women who have a training site. It's called The Tag Team. So the Tag, TAG team. Is everybody familiar with the Tag Team? So raise a hand, everybody. Okay.
You just shared it.
They are awesome. So on the Tag Team, there was a live, if you follow them, you can also subscribe to their live webcast. Have you seen that? Or their live Facebook cast? So do that, because then you get notification whenever they've done a new live cast. And one of them last week was on the subject of communicating with your host. It was fascinating. And you can go onto their Facebook group and you can see they did surveys with hosts. And how do you like to be communicated with, by your consultant? And it was about across the board, not any one company, but what is your preference on how to be communicated with during the host coaching process when you're hosting a party? And then they did a similar survey to consultants. How do you think you're supposed to communicate with your host? And they don't match up. So, and so if you do what Shirley told us at the very beginning of this meeting, and that is that you ask your host what her preference is, you're going to match, and you're going to then have a better relationship, and a higher percentage of your shows are going to hold on the original date, and they're going to be successful because you're communicating with that person the way she chooses to be communicated with, and not the way that you think you're supposed to communicate with her based on training you've heard or your preference in communication. And I urge you to go look that up, because when you see the survey and the pie chart that they put up, it's kind of shocking. I mean, it's almost the polar opposite of what hosts prefer is almost the polar opposite of what consultants think they're supposed to be doing. And it's really interesting. So I'm really glad you said that, Shirley, and thank you for pointing out that it's important to work with your host the way they want to be worked with. Kind of the platinum rule: work with others as they want to be worked with, not the way you want to do it. So, so anyway, I urge you all to look at that, and thank you, Shirley, for sharing that you do that. It's definitely, contributing to your success, I would think, with your working with your host.
Yep, always all about them.
Exactly.
People always want to do more for themselves than they want to do for you. Yeah. So when you help them do that, I mean, it's not my party, it's their party. It's my job to make it their party.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Anything else? All right. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you all. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.